Ask for Cream works.
Thank you very much for joining me. I want to express to each of you my deep gratitude for helping to create an unprecedented grassroots political campaign that has had a profound impact in changing our nation. I want to thank the hundreds of thousands of volunteers who knocked on doors, millions of them, in the freezing winters of Iowa and New Hampshire, and in the heat of Nevada and in South Carolina, and in states throughout the country. I want to thank the 2 million Americans who have contributed financially to our campaign and showed the world that we can take on a corrupt campaign finance system and run a major presidential campaign without being dependent upon the wealthy and the powerful. Thank you for your 10 million contributions, averaging $18.50 a donation. I want to thank those who phone bank for our campaign and those of you who send out millions of texts. And I want to thank the many hundreds of thousands of Americans who attended our rallies, town meetings, and house parties from New York to California. Some of these events had over 25,000 people, some had a few hundred, and some had a dozen, but all were important. And let me thank those who made these many events possible. I also want to thank our surrogates, too many to name. I can't imagine that any candidate has ever been blessed with a stronger and more dedicated group of people who have taken our message to every part of this country. And I want to thank all of those who made the music and the art an integral part of our campaign. I want to thank all of you who spoke to your friends and neighbors, posted on social media, and worked as hard as you could to make this a better country. Together, we have transformed American consciousness as to what kind of nation we can become, and have taken this country a major step forward in the never-ending struggle for economic justice, social justice, racial justice, and environmental justice. I also want to thank the many hundreds of people on our campaign staff. You were willing to move from one state to another and do all the work that had to be done. No job was too big or too small for you. You rolled up your sleeves and you did it. You embodied the words that are at the core of our movement, not me, but us. And I thank each and every one of you for what you've done. As many of you will recall, Nelson Mandela, one of the great freedom fighters in modern world history, famously said, and I quote, "It always seems impossible until it is done," end quote. And what he meant by that is that the greatest obstacle to real social change has everything to do with the power of the corporate and political establishment to limit our vision as to what is possible and what we are entitled to as human beings. If we don't believe that we are entitled to health care as a human right, we will never achieve universal health care. If we don't believe that we are entitled to decent wages and working conditions, millions of us will continue to live in poverty. If we don't believe that we are entitled to all of the education we require to fulfill our dreams, many of us will leave school saddled with huge debt or never get the education.
Hit pause. Yeah, no shit, Nick Daniels. He was old last time. Too old. Look, the president of the United States, Donald Trump, he's not exactly young, you know? But it's just kind of funny that Bernie drops out. I understand the delegate count. What are the Democrats doing? They have to put in Hillary Clinton. Joe Biden has not one, not two, not 12, not 20. He has multiple dozens of evidence of total dementia. He doesn't know where he is. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He gets on a topic and he goes into 6 different areas, just, you know, all over the place. And then he gets, that's not even all the women stuff and all the black stuff, you know. him just being fucking senile and weird and out of touch. What are they doing going with Joe Biden? If they really wanted to win, they should have put in someone like Pete Buttigieg. I think there was a chance there. Just from the optics of the situation, at least that would be the fresh face. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I'm a conspiracy guy and a social commentator on, on social media, such as we're doing right now. So I'm not an expert, but I also have two brain cells to rub together. What are the advantages to President Trump? Doing a great job handling this horrible virus. Economy was going up, 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 up until the virus. So he has that record to run on. Plus, he's he will not be number 2 on stage. I can tell you that. I don't care if he's 10 years older than he is now. President Donald Trump, I mean, he won't be president in 10 years, but the individual will not be stepped on stage, period. He's the ultimate alpha male. He's the ultimate command the microphone motherfucker general. So they're going to go with Joe Biden, who, when you just look at him, he looks... I never get personal on this show. Let me sit in my chair weird. I'm sitting Indian style on a wooden chair. Oh, am I still allowed to say that, or is that racist? Indian style with my legs crossed? That's what I was told growing up as a kid, and I never once thought about race. You said Indian style, huh? Okay. Whatever. But that's social conditioning for you. That's social conditioning in your face. That's what they're trying to do. Anyway, I totally digress, and I'll get back to the chat. I'll get right back to the chat. They're going with Joe Biden. Joe Biden, I said I never get personal. I try not to share a lot of personal stories, but I will share one here. And I'm not saying this to be dramatic. Our family lost our best friend, who happened to be a dog. I won't give... Well, we lost our dog, Rocky. Rocky was 19. Rocky had dementia. We could clearly see that the cognitive abilities were fading, and then they started to fade quick at the end. First, it was like, oh, shit, yeah, no, bumped into stuff, whatever. And then it literally only took a few months, and just down, down, down. So I lost my best fur friend to what is tantamount to dementia. Joe Biden exhibits all of the signs of not just early onset dementia, but fucking dementia. Shall I play some clips? Let's have some fun. And this is who the Democrats are running with. How stupid are they that they didn't, because everything is rigged, everyone knows that. How stupid are they that they didn't somehow craft a way for it to be like a Cory Booker, Pete Buttigieg, or maybe a Pete Buttigieg, Amy Klobuchar kind of thing. At least that model would have some kind... I mean, they're psychotic socialists. I would never want them running the country, but at least they would have had a modicum of like some there, Joe Biden, now he's going to go up against President Trump. This is going to be a massacre of epic proportions. Bernie Sanders, I wish you luck in your life. Nick Daniels says their entire team was lame. Yeah, their entire team was lame. Sunil Sharma lost his pet 14 months ago. It sucks. It's just, but my point, I'm over it now. I am always going to remember my fur friend Rocky the dog. But the point is I watched his decline because it was dementia, and I see the same thing in Joe Biden. And the point that I tried to illustrate earlier is it's typically, and I'm not a doctor, I'm a bee, but it's typically not something that, lasts 2, 3, 5 years. It usually starts out and then there's a big decline and then there's the big decline in which, it's like, oh, hello, Hawaii. I love looking at the nice white mountains over there from Manchester, till it gets to that point. Nick Daniels is suffering lines at the veterinarian. That blows. All right, I started off kind of depressing. I try not to do that. Let's find some funny stuff. Screen share is operational. That's a good thing.
I learned a lot. And I learned that it makes a difference. This was the diving board area, and I was one of the guards, and they weren't allowed to. There was a 3-meter board. If you fell off sideways, you landed on the darn cement over there. And Corn Pop was a bad dude. And he ran a bunch of bad boys. And I did. And back in those days, to show how things have changed, one of the things you had to use, if you used pomade in your hair, you had to wear a bathing cap. And so he was up on the board, wouldn't listen to me. I said, hey, Esther, you, off the board, or I'll come up and drag you off. Well, he came off, and he said, I'll meet you outside. My car, these were all public housing behind it. My car, there was a gate out here. I parked my car outside the gate. And he said, I'll be waiting for you. He was waiting for 3 guys in straight racers. Not a joke. There's a guy named Bill Wright, Mouse, the only white guy, and he did all the pools. He was the mechanic. And I said, what am I going to do? He said, come down here in the basement.
Hit pause. I know this is an old clip, but I'm trying to give a new take on it. Just ask yourselves. I know we have a small audience right now. Just ask yourselves, what the fuck does what he is saying have to do with beating China, beating South America, protecting the nation? What does this have to do with any of that? With auditing the Federal Reserve and making sure that our treasury is sound and our money is sound, especially in these times. What does this have to do with that?
Where mechanics, where all the pool filter is. You know the chain, there used to be a chain that went across the deep end. And he cut off a 6-foot length of chain. He folded up, he said, you walk out with that chain. And you walk to the car and say, you may cut me, man, but I'm going to wrap this chain around your head. I said, you kid.
What the fuck is he talking about?
Me. He said, no, if you don't come back. And he was right. So I walked out with the chain. And I walked up to my car. And those days used to remember the straight race. You just bang them on the curb, get them rusty, put them in the rain barrel, get them rusty. And I looked at him, but I was smart then. I said, first of all,
hit pause. just so my audience is cognizant of how I think about presidential politics, and let's be very, very clear. I think the future of the nation depends on someone who knows how to put a straight razor in a barrel and get it rusty to knock on the door of a car. Okay.
I said, when I tell you get off the board, you get off the board, and I'll kick you out again, but I shouldn't have called you. Esther Williams, I apologize for that. I apologize, but I didn't know that apology was going to work. He said, you apologize to me? I said, I apologize for that, not for throwing you out, but I apologize for what I said. He said, okay, close the straight razor, and my heart began to beat again.
Oh my God.
And I accept your nomination.
Being president is a serious job. It's not hosting a talk show.
Will never be president.
The alleged crash of a UFO on April the 17th, 1897 has been hauled into the focus of the news media again. For new members who may not have read the basic story, we'll recount it briefly again. A Mr. S.E. Hayden, a stringer for newspapers, one who provides local news to big city newspapers, submitted the story to the Dallas Morning News on April the 17th, 1897. In effect, it said that at about 6 a.m., a huge silver-collared cigar-shaped object appeared over the southern horizon, showing two gasoline engines along each side. Both of these engines turned propellers, and another propeller, which bored through the air, was mounted on top, apparently for vertical lift. This is a general description furnished by several people in several areas prior to the Aurora incident. It was estimated that the object was 200 to 300 feet long and 50 feet wide. 7 windows, at least according to the story, were strung along the bottom, and a strung headlight flashed out of the nose. Depending on who was telling this story, it was piloted by one of several persons, some of whom were wearing blue sailor suits. This was the general description of a strange airship which had been reported throughout the United States that year. However, in the case of the Aurora ship, it was piloted by only one individual, a Martian. Hayden said it came in low over the Aurora town square, zoomed north above Judge J.S. Proctor's house, which was located on a hill, and struck the judge's windmill and exploded. Debris was allegedly scattered far and wide, and when the citizens of Aurora rushed to the site of the wreck, they found the badly disfigured body of the pilot. T.J. Weems, allegedly the U.S. Signal Corps service officer and also an authority on astronomy, made the pronouncement that the pilot came from the planet Mars. Further, the story read, papers were found among the wreckage, but the writing could not be deciphered. According to Hayden, the local citizens cleaned up the debris at noon, gave the pilot a Christian burial at the Aurora Cemetery, which is located on a hill near the town. Mr. Donald Worley, APRO's field investigator at Connersville, Indiana, has submitted the following interesting report of a UFO incident which took place on a farm between Gainesville and Millhausen, Decatur County, Indiana, on the morning of March the 10th, 1972. As usual, Mr. Worley has furnished complete details of a most intriguing UFO report. At a little after 4 a.m. on the 10th, Mr. KG, name withheld upon request, awoke with a terrible pain in his stomach. It was so severe that when he got out of bed, he then laid down and rolled on the floor. He thought at the time he might be having a heart attack, despite the fact he was only 35, and he wakened his wife, M. The pain began to subside, so he got up and paced the floor. Shortly before Mr. and Mrs. G spotted a great orange glow beyond the trees to the southeast on Mr. G's father's farm. It lit up the area and seemed to change in intensity. After a while, Mr. G felt well again and went back to bed. However, his wife stayed up and watched the glow for about an hour, after which an orange-colored glowing boomerang-shaped object ascended from the area where the glow was and flew west. When it was south of the G home, it appeared to be about the size.
Stop now. At the next exit, the next convenience store, go into a business that will let you in. If you know anybody that maybe doesn't have electricity and cannot watch us or listen, tornado right in there. You can see what the
That has to be a tornado.
looks like there's debris down there. There's a debris cloud that extends out that far, so we might have an invisible funnel there.
I get Greensboro. Take Greensboro.
A little bit of area that's invisible there. Look at that. We got multiple vortex tornado on the ground. There it is. You can see the multiple vortexes.
People standing on the road.
And we'll get that thing centered.
This has got to be it.
Vortex tornado that is almost downtown Tuscaloosa. And again, you should have been in your safe place 20 minutes ago.
It doesn't look like anything's on the ground over there.
You can meet the last minute on the radio. Get into a safe place right now. Small underground if you can.
If it's anywhere, it's right there.
I want to go after the fire, but I have to go after the tornado.
We can hit both. We can hit 69, but I feel like that's more directly in its path
The Marion County out of Lamar County. Another one that's passing
from downtown, because he said it's going straight towards downtown.
County. It's moving from Sipsey and Empire.
I don't know
Look at the debris. Look at the debris in that. Zoom in tighter, Jason.
Surprised they haven't gotten the fire on the news yet.
Goodness gracious.
It's two places. There's two fires.
Go down in state history. And all you do is pray for those.
We got to tear this fire down. That's fun oil.
This is a large, violent tornado coming up on downtown Tuscaloosa. Be in a safe place right now. And if we called the name of your community in any of the other tornadoes, the same thing. You know, we're not able to show every single one of them live on television like that. That thing is huge. That is, and it's still 3 or 4
We're about to
miles
get a
away
good.
right there.
Here we go here.
Yep.
And again, the camera, for those of you that are watching maybe for the first time, this is on top of the Tuscaloosa County Courthouse. Where the backup of it's not so shaky, but look at that, right? And this thing is still southwest of downtown Tuscaloosa. Moving north.
That's southwest of downtown Tuscaloosa. There it is.
Yes,
That it is.
The last time we had one like that in that part
That thing looks like you can see debris in the air.
1932.
That thing is half a mile wide.
Destroyed so much.
I'm going to go up to 35th Street and turn around.
But again, that is a huge
Well, let's get behind it.
tornado that is moving right up on downtown Tuscaloosa.
That thing is massive. Holy mama.
These other radar signatures, that's what you're going to get today.
I wish these trees would go away.
Today, this is
We got it. We're going to go clear here. So
it's a career time day.
Slow down.
Reminiscent of the outbreaks of the 70s and the Super Bowl Radio 74. So if you're just joining us, now we're starting to see the flashes.
There it freaking is. Oh my god. Okay, speed up.
Company's infrastructure. But again, that is something that you pray that you never, ever, ever see
We need to go faster. It's coming right at us. No, keep straight. Keep straight. Yes, keep straight. We can come up behind it later. That thing is. Jesus. Go, Chandler. Jesus. Never in my life will I see this again. Hey, roll down your back window. Yeah, pretty much. But keep going. I would definitely keep going. Chandler, do not go back that way. Nate, Dylan. I am. There's two of them. We need to go that way. No, Chandler, God damn it, go back. We're fine. Chandler, go the fuck back. I'm not kidding. We don't know if this thing can change directions. We're not experts. It's crossing the interstate right where we were. Oh my God. You can see huge debris. Chandler, chill out for a second. Let's just sit right here. We're good right here. Shelly's gotta get safe. Oh my God, yeah, we're semi-good now. Oh my God. That thing is destroying everything. It's gonna hide under the main switch. We gotta go.
See it spinning so hard at the surface.
Yes.
Lincoln Legal or whatever it is that it's like the biggest law firm that deals
Wait, there's a better way to do this. I'll ask Nick Daniels. Nick Daniels, do you think April would care if I mirror her stream and give her credit? Well, I'll just try it, and if she asks me to quit, I'll quit.
Say that you write the letter, and they say, sure, we're going to do this, but you look at your credit report and it says something like charged off or something that doesn't seem favorable, whatever terminology they want to put there. You can go back in and dispute that and say that you want it changed, that the status is wrong. You can go back and say that it was paid per agreement, if that's what you want to do. You can put that in there, and then that boosts your credit and looks favorable to you. Now, I'm not saying that everybody can do this, but there's another way that you can get credit. And the reason you need credit is because if you're understanding secured party creditor and you understand banking, then you understand that you're pushing debits and credits across the line that really they're not real. Okay. So like you go to your job every day and you work and you work and you work and you work and you get a thing that's called a paycheck, but that's not actual gold. Okay. You can't, you're not actually getting gold in your pocket, because remember, doing, actually you can. You actually can. If you want to write me an email at april@april@june.com, I'll tell you, I'll give you the business thing that will, if you wanted to start a credit repair business, I'll give you the thing to do it. But you got to have quite a few clients to make it a full-time job, just saying. But anyway, so we thought that the Federal Reserve notes are actually doing something, and we get these green notes in our pocket. We think they're actually doing something, all that. So you go to work, get this thing called a paycheck. All it does is it's telling the bank to transfer this much, these many digits over to this account, and vice versa. When you use your card, this many digits to that account. It's just a pushing around of digits. That's it. It's like when you're Terry Oliver, nice to see you. You haven't seen your score is going up and up and up and up. That's not, can't actually take that and go get gold with it. All right, those are in-game points that you can use for something. It's the same thing when you're going to work and you get a paycheck, and the paycheck says, okay, you get $500 this week. Then you're pushing digits from that bank account over to that bank account. That's what you're doing. Okay, you don't actually go in and see the money. Even when you have a green note in your pocket, that's just telling them to push digits from this side to this side. That's it. Okay, that's it. So you've got $5 digits, which is 500 penny digits. That's what we call them. So if you understand that it's all smoke and mirrors, then you can understand how your credit score is, which means that you can understand that the credit really doesn't mean anything. And every single thing on your credit is absolutely 100% not legal to be there. And the reason is because they do not have literal paper in their hands. Okay? So if I have a contract between myself and, let's say, David, all right, David and I have a contract together. I have an actual paper that has his signature on it and my signature on it, and he has an actual paper that has my signature on it and his signature on it. That is an actual contract, and we've both gone over it. We both know exactly what's on both sides. For him and for I, we agree That's a valid contract as long as we both understand the contract and agree with it. Okay. Well, they don't have that. Every single thing they have is digital. All right. And it's not even a contract. All that happens is the reporting agency. Okay. The person who's reporting something on your credit just has a long list and says, here's this, 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 and this. Put it on their credit. That's it. It's out. They don't even do that. They go, yep, looks legit to me. That's it. The contract is the validation. Copy of the contract between me and you that allows you to collect this debt. Okay, even the credit card company doesn't have that. Did you know that the credit card have anything that has your digital signature, your real signature on it at all, which doesn't make that a valid contract. And then they also sell these to other people. Again, that's not a valid contract because you don't even know the person that you're dealing with now. And if you don't know the person that you're dealing with, it can't be a valid contract. That is voiding the contract right there. So that way you can get it off. We can't fix buffer. Yeah, I can't fix it. And watching. Okay, hello, Polo Loco. I think that's a restaurant, if I remember correctly. Fauci flashed some kind of satanic hand sign. Stimulus check. They've got bills to pay. Okay? They're going to have bills to pay. And they're going to be like, I got this $1,200. That's most likely what's going to happen. Now, technically, you're supposed to pay your cards off to, if you want more credit, you're supposed to pay. If you can pay it off every month, and then once you do that, they are looking at the credit ratio, how much credit you already have out to how much you make and all that kind of stuff, or how much credit are you using. So they make this credit ratio. It's all smoke and mirrors, dudes. And the reason it's all smoke and mirrors is because your signature is the thing that's the valuable deal, because the signature is the asset on a contract, whatever it is. So when let's say you get a bank account from, not a bank account, but a credit account from American Express, for example. All right, you're doing it, not them. It doesn't come from anybody. Yes, $1,200 does barely pay the rent for most people. Supposed to mean. That doesn't even mean anything to me. I don't even know what that means. You're gonna have to be a little bit more explicit than that. Okay, so there's another way that you can also get credit. If you have somebody who has an open account somewhere, and let's say, and I really think this is great for secured party creditor people, because secured party creditors have such a good advantage in their points because they're actually the executors of their accounts. All right. So that being said, when you're in that position, it gives you a little bit more, I think, traction to be able to take care of it. But anyway, you can also, if you want to, you can find somebody who's got 2 years, good account open. They've never made a late payment. Everything's all ready. Everything's great as far as They've never had a late payment on that particular thing. That being said, okay, once you do that, you can ask that person if you can be an authorized user. You don't have to use the account. I mean, I would probably say to the person, I don't want to use the account at all. I just want to be an authorized user. Because, I mean, if it's somebody that's your good friend or somebody that's your relative or something, don't take advantage of them and start using their account. I'm just saying, don't do it. Because some of you will get yourselves in a world of hurt doing it that way. But there are some people who, you know, maybe you got divorced. Yes, Andrew Evans. Yes, listen. And I'm not a bro. Thanks, bro. Not your bro. Okay. There are some people who the only reason they have bad credit is because they got divorced. There was something that was unfortunate. Sometimes it has to do with medical expenses. They pay everything else, but they've got like ridiculous amounts of medical expenses. And sometimes that's just the way it is. So some people are in that position where they can't get any credit because of that. So when that happens, you weren't talking to me? Well, that's good because I'm not your bro. Just saying. Andrew Evans, that's good. Good to know. Sometimes I see these comments on there and I'm like, that is really, it shouldn't be, I hope you're not talking to me. Just saying. Okay. And Andrew wasn't talking to me, so that's good. But anyway, so sometimes it's a circumstance that's beyond your control. Okay. So the other person is going to understand that and they're going to help you out. I wish somebody would. Me too. I know. That's not an option of anything that I could possibly do. Besides that, I don't really need to. It is all fake. Super Trump 2020 says it's all fake. It is all fake. Now, I saw Mariella just said something about car loans. Is that forgiveness? That's different. Now, see, before, when they were saying something about debt forgiveness and things like that, people were like, that'll never happen. That's not a real thing. That can't happen. Although the 1099-C, now, I don't know if some of you guys just filed your taxes online, but I thought it was a very interesting question. They asked if you have a 1099-A, which is claiming abandoned assets, or a 1099-C, which is debt forgiveness, like you're forgiving someone else's debt. They ask you that on the credit, okay, on the tax form. They ask that when you do it online. I'm streaming you live, says JB Rants. Woohoo! Thank you, JB. Please tell me how we're going to survive martial law. What time period are we talking about? Are we talking about now? Because this is medical martial law, sort of. Only if you comply, and even if you don't, you're pretty much good to go. I mean, you can go over to a friend's house. That's not martial law. You can go over to, you can't go to places that are closed, but that's not, what does that have to do with you? Now, I'm doing the same thing that I always do. So, I'm not feeling the pain. I do think you might have to change some of the things you're doing, though. You know, we're not under martial law at the moment, unless you're talking about 1871. I'm trying to get where you're coming from. I was just kicked out of a Dollar Tree because I wasn't wearing my mask. Does in Riverside, California, they require you to wear a mask, and I'm disabled American. They're violating my rights. They are violating your rights. But you the incidents, you can record the incidents, you can go back later and say you violate my rights and sue them if that's what you want to do. That's a lot of stuff. But the problem is when everyone else is complying, you don't have much ground to stand on. For example, I just said in the other show, I'd like to be able to go to church on Sunday at the building where I go. But since they closed the building, I can't do that. So I kind of have to comply. If Dollar Tree is saying that you, or Dollar, whatever it was, John, yeah, now is a really good time to get those letters in. Privacy Guard, I don't get any, for referring you to Privacy Guard, I don't get any money. Thick your little book is there for your credit score. See, I printed off my whole thing for my credit, so I can go through it, mark down the things that were on there that I wanted to fix. Like one of them, they didn't have my address right. Okay, so when and I've tried twice to get them to do it. Well, this time I said, okay, that's it. Because I am in the position of being the executrix over my account and my straw man and all that stuff. I wrote them legal and constructive notice, and I said, look, here's the deal. And I gave them the same stuff that I gave them before. A piece of mail with my address on it and a photo ID. And I said, this is legal and constructive notice, and I want you to change this and update it right now. So they did. Okay. That really kind of irks me that they could have done it before, but until you strong arm them, they won't. Okay. When it's all over, karma will come back for all of us, I guess. You have to call to action so people know about your books. Well, I know that. Here is the deal. Okay. This is the problem. All right. I have to write my book under a pseudonym. False reviews on my book. I only want verified people who've actually purchased the book and downloaded it and used it and read it to actually review the book. So I had to put it under a pseudonym. That means that other people that you have to email me, and I have to give you the link. Do you see? So yeah, I'd love you to buy it. It's only $3.49. And it can help you greatly on how to fix your credit. I've had a lot of people, it's got all 5-star reviews so far. All right. And I expected to have all 5-star reviews. So if you want to get the credit repair book, you can certainly do that. It's $3.49, and you can get it through Amazon because it's to me, if somebody else is in charge of my stuff, it kind of makes me mad because then I don't have a lot of control over what's going on with it. You know how you go into court and you don't have a lot of, you're at the mercy of the judge, really, because the judge can at any time dismiss the jury if you're having a jury trial. The judge can automatically say whatever they want, even if you've got all the evidence in. I've seen it over and over and over again. This is what motivated me to say, I don't want this anymore. I want to be in charge of myself. I don't want some judge's jurisdiction usurping my rights, and I don't want anybody else usurping my rights, because credit, you know, for a long, long time, I didn't realize how the credit and the court system work together and how it's basically all towards being against you. So if you have one little thing in your history that isn't your fault, you don't have anything to do with it, like let's say your ID is stolen, anything like that, mistaken identity, things that you didn't do, railroaded into all kinds of stuff. People, that happens to people all the time. Every day they get railroaded and stuff. I didn't realize how it all goes together. Well, in order to get all that stuff to stop, because I'm sick and tired of watching this happen, because I know every time something happens to somebody else, I go, oh, that could happen to me, and I don't want it to happen. Okay? So that being said, that's when after I found out that there was a dual system and you could be the person in charge of your life, you didn't have to go by all these things. You could use the Constitution. You were able to write letters, because you know how the congressmen say, I'm going to write a strongly worded letter. And if somebody writes me a strongly worded letter, I usually laugh. It depends on what the position is of the person and what it actually says. But usually strongly worded letters to me are hilarious. I would like to have the link to buy your book. Okay, write me an email, april@aprilofjune.com. I will be more than happy to send that link to you after the show, of course. But anyway, so I decided if I'm proactive, then I can counteract anything that might come my way in order to be able to, because, you know, they demonetize my channel. They try to do stuff to me all the time. I'm so sick of it. I decided that before anything gets out of hand too much, I'm going to take charge of the situation, and I'm going to put myself in the position where if they try to do anything to me, I have recourse. All right. Instead of a judge just going, no, we don't like her either, because we the magic 8-ball and her little followers of crap people and her little people who think that she's God's gift to something, I don't know, astrology or whatever, will go over and try to make false claims on my book, and I don't want that to happen. So I did not say what the book is. You're going to have to email me, april@aprilofjune.com. So what happens, what I did is I said, I'm not waiting around for that. And when I discovered that I could be in charge of my stuff and could write these strongly worded letters, and they actually meant
Hey guys, Nick DiPaolo here. I just wanted to drop you a note, thanking you so much for supporting the show in these tough times. I know, everybody's feeling this coronavirus effect, and but you guys have come through with flying colors, supporting the show. Whether it's a one-time contribution at nickdip.com, whether it's signing up for Patreon.com, becoming a monthly subscriber, or sponsoring the show if you have a business which isn't shuttered right now. We can't tell you how much it means to us. And one thing that stays steady even through a pandemic is the politics. The media has just revved it up even more against Trump, saying he's not handling this right, blah, 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 blaming him for everything, which is all a crock of shit, right? You got to be tired of left-leaning news. It's all that's on TV, really, other than Fox News. So if you need a break from that, want to have a few laughs, and you believe in free speech like I do, tune in to the Nick DiPaolo podcast. Go to nickdip.com. You can watch it on YouTube, and when you do watch it on YouTube, click that button below and become a subscriber. That makes my numbers goes up. It makes sponsors want to advertise on the show, and we can continue this. You guys have been tremendous through this. I can't thank you enough. All right? That's all I wanted to say. So now I'd like you to enjoy the show. So, enjoy.
Listen to me. Listen to me. I am not going to be nice to some of you motherfuckers. Let me tell you, we have a pandemic. Coronavirus is... Parents, can you fucking get your kids out from the street? It's fucking annoying. Some of you motherfuckers, you have your kids out there, and it's fucking 9 p.m. I just cannot understand what the fuck is wrong with some of you. For God's sake, some of your kids are there, they're catching disease. Kids are there, they are distributing the disease. You fucking need to go get your kids. Grab their nuts, grab their dick, and twist that nuts. You understand? It's fucking annoying.
Oh, yeah. How are you, folks? Welcome to the Nick DiPaolo Show. It's Tuesday. And how about that was, I think, the president of Uganda. It's somebody in the higher up. I don't know if it's the president, but it's good to see he has his emotions in check and he's thinking logical. Actually, I agree with everything he said. He could have been talking to Detroit or Atlanta or Baltimore. You fucking kids, grab the nuts, twist their nuts, rip off their dick. I don't understand. It's a pandemic. I told you.
No fucking kids. No, but you wouldn't listen.
Well, look at you now.
Stupid fuck.
Your kids. Oh, those fucking, I don't know. Those guys creep me out. My favorite was the guy that used to drink his own piss in the morning, Idi Amin. That's what he's known for, having a nice glass of his own piss and then slaughtering his people. We did business with him. What are you going to do? It's a dirty world out there. Please watch Narcos, please. I finished the Colombian one, and I'm watching the Mexican one now. You brown people have real tempers, I'll tell you. Talk about white people. Come on now. So fucking good. It is so good. Watch it. That and the fucking Tiger King. We'll talk about that in a few seconds. Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're corona-free, by the way. Thank you for tuning in again. My God, we need this. I will be a distraction for an hour, and your kids must be climbing up your fucking back. You want to bitch slap them, but somebody will call the cops, Anyways, the breaking story, it's corona-free, this story, actually. Kayleigh McEnany will replace Stephanie Grisham as the White House press secretary. That's her right there, huh? That's her right there, of course.
Delicious.
Yes, she is.
I have beer. I have
things to say.
Hey, everybody, we're all gonna get laid.
Yay. Anyways, Trump likes him. Hot. Does he not? I mean, he's just asking for trouble. She could be well, I've seen her on Fox a million times. Anyway, she's going to replace Stephanie Grisham, the only press secretary in history who never did a press conference. I think she was a placeholder. She replaced Sleepy Eye, what's her name? Huckabee Sanders, who was great, by the way, at her job. Grisham, who replaced Huckabee Sanders last June, will return to the East Wing as First Lady Melania Trump's chief of staff. You need a chief of staff when you're a fucking first lady without having ever held a press conference. McEnany, a spokesman for the Trump campaign, is going to take her place. There she is in all her splendor. I mean, in all her whatever. I guess there's been rumors, long-time rumors, speculation that Grisham was on her way out of the press secretary role. After the speculation that First Lady reportedly kept speaking to her on a nearly daily basis. So she was sort of a placeholder. Grisham and Trump previously worked together when she served as the First Lady's communication director before becoming press secretary. Then Mark Meadows enters the picture, newly installed White House chief of staff, and he didn't really care for Grisham. He wanted to revamp the White House press office. He wants it to play a much bigger role. And I agree, get him some positive ink. He says it's a 40-person team, the press office. That's a lot of people. Let's get him some good stories. Meadows clashed with Grisham since coming into his new role and targeted her as someone he wanted to replace. Anyways, also joining the press staff is Alyssa Farah. I didn't pull up a pic of her because I don't have any handy wipes in the house. What? I'm sure she's a fucking 9. You can't have a name Alyssa Farah and be a dog. She was also seen as a possible press secretary. Grisham said in a statement that her successor will be announced in the coming days and that I will stay in the West Wing to help smooth the transition. McEnany, a cable news staple for her impassioned defense of Trump, could not immediately be. That's all it takes to get on Trump's team. If you're out there as a pundit on all these shows and you're fucking, defending him night and day, he'll snatch you right up. Hope he watches his show. I'll be filling in soon. I'm the new fucking press secretary. Hey, Acosta, you cocksucker. Get out of the room. What are you from, MSNBC? Yeah, go fuck a dog. Get out of here. Tell Rachel Maddow she's a fucking he-she. That'll be my first day. I'll be like Scaramucci. Remember they canned him? I just be calling on Fox News. What are you from, Bloomberg? Get out of here. How'd he do? Anyways, that's a big, whatever. New press secretary, easy on the eyes. What are you going to do? It's a dangerous thing. Hey, we got a little bit of positive news as far as Corona goes. The outbreak shows signs of leveling off in New York, New Jersey, but vigilance is there. It's good news. The governor of New York, New Jersey, Louisiana pointed to tentative signs on Monday that the coronavirus outbreak may be starting to plateau in their states, but warned against complacency as the death toll nationwide approached 11,000, 11 large, 11K. It's a lot of fucking clams. 11,000 people. Although coronavirus cases and deaths continue to mount, the governor cited data suggesting the rates of growth and hospitalizations was slowing, possibly signaling a peak was at hand in 3 U.S. epicenters of the pandemic. Boy, did I get out of there in time. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo stated statewide deaths from COVID-19 caused by the virus were up 599 from Sunday, on par with an increase of 594 during the previous 24 hours and 630 on Friday. The state's overall tally of confirmed cases grew by 7% from the previous day to 130,680, but hospitalizations, admissions to intensive care units, and the number of patients put on ventilator machines to keep them breathing had all declined. Here is Fonzie.
Up once again, number of people we lost, number of New Yorkers, 4,758, which is up from 159, but which is effectively flat for 2 days.
That's good news.
While none of this is good news.
Yeah, it is.
The flattening.
The flattening part's good.
Possible flattening of the curve is better than the increases that we have seen.
There it is. The Yankees in first place. New Jersey chasing them. The Michigan Wolverines are in third, and California. Look at that, though. Look at fucking New York, New Jersey, Michigan, California, Louisiana, Massachusetts, Florida, Pennsylvania, Illinois make out the Big Ten. It's starting to slow down in Washington. But that's we're seeing some light, hopefully. He said, yesterday I worked for 16 hours and I had, this is a doctor they were talking to at a New York hospital. No, he's a fire department lieutenant, Anthony Almaheda. Yesterday I worked for 16 hours. I had 13 cardiac arrests, and that's a lot of death. He says, I don't know if any of us will ever be the same after this. We're going to talk about it in a story later on, how now they say it goes after the heart sometimes. They're trying to figure out if that's a byproduct of reacting to the virus or it actually infects the heart. And New York City accounts for 2/3 of nearly 4,800 deaths in New York State, which in turn represents 45% of the nation's total deaths. That's pretty creepy, man.
If that's a fact, tell me, am I lying?
Our efforts to flatten the curve are starting to pay off, Cuomo said. No, this is Phil Murphy, who hates Trump. New Jersey, second highest number of cases and death. Phil Murphy cited a 12% day-to-day growth rate in confirmed positive cases on Monday, half the rate from March 30th. He says our efforts to flatten the curve are starting to pay off, but warned that relaxing social distancing rules would trigger a renewed surge in cases that could yet overwhelm the. He's been on many clips online shitting all over Trump and the job he's doing because he has to. He's a dumb. Louisiana Governor John Bell Edwards likewise expressed cautious optimism about efforts to contain transmission of the virus in his state. New hospital admissions are trending downward, he told the news conference, but this will only become a trend if we keep mitigation efforts up, and he's right about that.
You are correct, sir.
You are correct,
You gotta
sir.
listen to you. I guess we're having a little rebellion in Idaho, which I love. Is the middle of the country, it's all retired cops that live there and shit, old school. Anyways, in a glimmering hope for the country as a whole, the latest research model from the University of Washington, one of several cited by the leading health authorities, forecasts 81,766 U.S. coronavirus fatalities by August 4th, down by 12,000 from a weekend projection. So the numbers are U.S. fatalities numbering 10,902 on Monday were rapidly closing in on Italy and Spain, the countries with the greatest loss of life to date, at more than 16,000 and over 13,000 respectively, according to Reuters. The tally of all known U.S. infections topped 360,000. But it's good. They're seeing less admissions at hospitals in New York and stuff. So there's a little bit. But here's the question. At what point do you go, okay, we can go back to work and go to life as usual? You know what I mean? What's that number? We can't wait, obviously, till there's none left, right? How's that going to work? Well, at what point do they go, okay, back to, you know what I mean? I don't know. Thank God I'm a comedian who tells dick jokes at 3 a.m. I can't handle this shit. It's ridiculous. But there's some interesting shit came out about it and about the coronavirus. Fears coronavirus can hide in cells and reactivate later after 51 recovered patients tested positive again. What the fuck?
Son of a whore!
But it's not as bad as you think, okay? The patients from the city of Daegu, South Korea, where I have a beautiful 2-bedroom, had all spent time in quarantine while recovering from the virus, but were diagnosed again within days of being released. South Korea has been among the most successful countries globally in controlling the outbreak, using strict quarantining and widespread testing to slow its spread of the virus. The number of new cases being diagnosed each day in the country is now at levels seen as the pandemic was getting underway in February. The 51 cases were identified as part of a study conducted in Daegu, the epicenter of the outbreak, by a team of epidemiologists from the Centers of Disease Control. The center said it did not believe the patients had been reinfected, but that the virus had remained at undetectable levels in their cells and later reactivated. Oh yeah, that's great news. It's like hair gel, your hair gel, you have to reactivate it later in the day. Same thing. How's that for an analogy? Give that to Anthony Fauci. Tell him Tell him he's welcome. That's like putting moose in your hand. It fucking dries. I ain't gonna wet up. The claim runs contrary to the bulk of current evidence about how the virus works. Speaking to Mail Online, Paul Hunter, an infectious disease professor at the University of East Anglia, said, I agree that these will not be reinfections, but I do not think these will be reactivations. He says, personally, and here's the key, I think the most likely explanation is that the clearance samples were false negatives. One in 5 COVID tests give you a false reading. Coronavirus patients are typically required to test negative twice before being allowed to leave quarantine. Where this happens and they are later found to be infected, it is thought to be much more likely that the negative tests gave the wrong result. So I'm hoping that's what that is. The tests currently available produce an incorrect results roughly 1 in 5 times. It is currently thought that the coronavirus patients will remain immune from the disease in at least the medium term once they have recovered. I'm hoping that, I'm telling you, I know I fucking had it when I got back to Chicago, I know. Here's my question. That means I have antibodies in me that they could use. So where do I give my blood? Somebody fucking call it, nickdip.com. Tell me where to go. I'm not using it. At least my pecker's not. You get the fuck out of here. Where do I could have the antibodies. Somebody could use this, you know what I mean? But I don't see them really making stress in the where to go or what to do. They're so busy testing and everything. But now here's a story again on the periphery of the coronavirus, but the political correctness, that's one thing that never dies, you know? Michigan State University, which I've done no less than 15 stories about Michigan State University and the political correct horseshit. They have teams of kids that are supposed to walk around on campus and listen for racist and hatred and snitch on each other. It's a fucking creepiest. I love their football team. I love the Spartans. I don't even want to pull for them anymore. The shit that goes on this campus is just, ugh. And here's their latest, is Michigan State University lists, in quotes, acceptable names for Chinese virus.
I kill you right now. Kill me, I'm right here, kill me. Okay, I come with 2 chopsticks, I shove up your ass. 2 chopsticks, come over here, talk to me in the face. Look at somebody.
Talk to you in the face, not unless you have a mask on. Michigan State University is advising its students use only acceptable, listen to this fucking shit, terminology when speaking out about the Chinese virus, insisting that the Wuhan coronavirus, which CNN used, which NBC used, which MSNBC used, which every fucking liberal outlet used when it first came out. They called it the Chinese virus. We went over this. Insisting that the Wuhan coronavirus must be referred to as the novel coronavirus or COVID-19. It must be, or what? Or what? If I'm a fucking, wake up Michigan State students, fucking say, or what? What are you going to do? Kick me out of school? The fuck are you doing? It's right out of the communist playbook. Oh, it fucking infuriates me.
You listening?
Yeah.
Your mother sucks fucking big fucking elephant dicks. Got that?
That goes to the guy who came up with that. The school is also encouraging all students, listen to this, Raz, to sign a pledge entitled, Hate Has No Home Here. The key word is hate. Because in their minds, if you disagree with anything with them politically, it's considered hate. So eventually you'll have 3 words you can say on campus. Hate has no home. Hate has a fucking home here. I'll build you a fucking extra wing on my house. I'm inviting all the hate to my house. We'll have dinner and drinks and laugh about it. Fuck you, Michigan State.
You need to shut the fuck up.
Hate has no home here. In a campus-wide email sent to staff, faculty, and students, MSU is recommending that people refer to the Wuhan coronavirus as SARS, either coronavirus, SARS, CoV-2, or COVID-19. Who the fuck?
Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you!
Use the correct term for the virus, insists the university in its email. No other names are acceptable. And again, I say, who the fuck are you? Who are the First Amendment doesn't even exist on this campus and pretty much any college campus. Hate doesn't exist. Fucking what you're doing is hateful, in my opinion. All right. How about the zip-ahead yellow fever virus? How's that sit with you? The slanty-eyed fucking yellow fever poison. Fucking Wuhan fucking virus. The egg roll epidemic. The pot sticker pandemic. The school's also encouraging its campus community to sign MSU's pledge entitled "Hate Has No Home Here." Here's the pledge, Raz, and my people at home who I love. I will work to make sure, and then in capital letters, hate has no home here at MSU. I pledge to do my part in creating and sustaining a welcoming and inclusive environment at MSU, as long as it doesn't include white people. I pledge to not commit acts of hate. I pledge to be an active bystander and to prevent and address incidents of hate and bias. Oh my God. In Michigan State Michigan State University emailed the university also recommends students stand up to racist and dog whistle speech that they hear others engaging in on campus, as well as stand up against the denigration of anyone in our Asia Pacific.
Hit pause. I tried, this is JB speaking. I tried stand-up comedy and I was funny, but I failed. I could probably do it again. But I recently found Nick DiPaolo about 6 months ago. Egg roll epidemic. Fucking egg roll epidemic.
Des American community. As the school insists that it is seeing a rise in anti-APIDA racism. Fucking lies. This is communist. This is right out of the communist playbook, you know. Take a pledge. But next year they'll make you sign it. They're telling you to rat out each other. If you hear somebody saying something that's hateful, are you fucking dog styling me? Wake up, kids at MSU. Honestly. We have to douche all academia. Of everybody who's teaching right now, the professors, the deans, they have to be douched. Somebody said this in an article, and I agree 1,000%. That's actually a threat to our security, homeland security, the fucking college campuses. Because they've been spewing this shit for years, right? And you look at the kids now, the dummies who don't know anything about American history. And all they have drilled into their head for the last 30 years, how evil this fucking country is. They know nothing about history. They don't know how to do math, science. They barely get into college. That's all they are, is propaganda factories. Included in the email is a link in which students can report instances of hate that they hear on campus to school administrators. I would love to fucking just call that line and go, yeah, I'm a white student. I'm a sophomore. I saw two black people saying the word cracker, so I want to report that. You think they'd do anything about it? Well, they laugh in my face and go, no, this is a hate line, and you're a white male. You're the oppressor. This is to rat on you. Michigan State University is not the only school attempting to conflate acknowledging where the Chinese, by the way, it came from China, where the Chinese virus came from with hate and racism. Last week, University of Texas at Austin, the dean argued that the term Chinese virus is inspiring hateful acts against Asian American students on campus. I don't fucking believe it for a second. Show me.
Liar, whore, you know it.
Don't just say it. Show me some acts. There's cameras everywhere. Show me the Asian people. Just like after 9/11, remember? We kept getting warned that there's going to be a wave of violence against Muslims in this country, and I think one Sikh got shot. Also, the University of California recently told students that it's inappropriate for them to use the term Chinese virus. The school also released a set of guidelines which argue that the term projects hatred towards Asian communities. Ding dao hicking on nothing now. How about that? People?
Who said that? Who the fuck said that? Who's the slimy little communist shit twinkle toed cocksucker down here who just signed his own death warrant?
Oh, yeah, that ship in New York, you know, that ship that's supposed to be for patients? Yeah, the 1,000 beds are filled with Asian kids who get beat up all over New York. Ain't that right? Give that to fucking Anderson Cooper, Cooper Anderson, Kevin Baloney. What's his fucking name? Squash swallower. Could read it on air tonight. Hey guys, the Nick DiPaolo show has partnered up with thedonaldstuff.com. They have a bunch of shirts, mugs, hats, posters, both of exclusive Nick DiPaolo show gear, and also some hilarious Trump-friendly stuff. We got the towel. There's this shirt that I like, actually. It looks like I just got out of shock treatment. Wash your filthy asses, America towel. That's a beach towel. Bring that to the Michigan State University. They'll have no problem with it because it implies Americans have filthy asses. They'll fucking love it. That's a pretty good looking towel. Wish I had one for my house. I've been wiping my ass with coffee filters lately. Goddamn toilet paper is like fucking cocaine. You can't get it. You can find all this stuff. They make some great stuff. TheDonaldStuff.com. And this is important. Please make sure to use the promo code Nick at the checkout to get 10% off your order. That applies to everything on the website. All the mugs, and it says shits. I think they mean shirts. I haven't started selling my own shit yet. I'm not that famous. And hats. There's the aprons. I want to put that on with nothing on. I'm just going to be naked, put that on, and stand on my porch in Savannah. Just fucking wave to people. The Lion King's already ordered 10 of these. And again, check out the DonaldStuff.com. At TheDonaldStuff.com, use the promo code Nick at the checkout. They keep adding new stuff every day, and we will keep sharing it with you guys. And we'll also put a link up on my website. And we thank you guys for supporting the show. As I mentioned before, about this corona, it's only attacking Asian people now. No, it goes after the lungs. It's a respiratory thing, right? But you know what? Now they're fucking realizing it might be going after the heart. You believe that shit? That looks like a roast I made. That looks like a Boston butt pork shoulder. All right, enough of that. Oh, that's me. Stop it. Well, the focus of the COVID-19 pandemic has been respiratory problems and securing enough ventilators. Doctors on the front lines are grappling with a new medical mystery. In addition to lung damage, COVID-19 patients are also developing heart problems. Fucking heart problems. I love Corona. I hate Corona. And dying of cardiac arrest. As more data comes in from China and Italy, as well as Washington State and New York, more cardiac experts are coming to believe the COVID-19 virus can affect the heart muscle. And an initial study found cardiac damage in as many as 1 in 5 patients. That's kind of creepy, leading to heart failure and death, even among those who show no signs of a respiratory distress.
Bye-bye.
God damn. The question of whether the emerging heart problems are caused by the virus itself or a byproduct of the body's reaction to it has become one of the critical unknowns facing doctors as they race to understand the novel. Can we quit calling it novel illness, for the love of fuck? Determining how the virus affects the heart is difficult, in part because most people don't have them. Oh, that was silly. because severe illness alone can influence heart health. Someone who's dying from a bad pneumonia will ultimately die because the heart stopped. Well, you can say that about anything. Gunshot to the fucking forehead will stop your heart. A nice set of tits on the beach will stop your heart. Who's with me? That's a good point. Ultimately, because the heart stops. A professor of cardiology said at Northwestern, blah, blah, blah. And you can't get enough oxygen into your system and things go haywire. But Dr. Banau and many other cardiac specialists believe a COVID-19 infection could lead to damage to the heart in 4 or 5 ways. Some patients, they say, might be affected more than one of those pathways. Doctors have long known that any serious medical event, I didn't know this, even something as straightforward as hip surgery can create enough stress to damage the heart. Oh, I'm going to put that operation off. Fucking limping around after I do P90X like a 9-year-old woman. Moreover, a condition like pneumonia can cause widespread inflammation in the body. That in turn can lead to plaque in arteries becoming unstable, causing heart attacks. Inflammation can also cause a condition known as myocarditis, which can lead to the weakening of the heart muscle and ultimately heart failure. But Banau said the damage observed, listen to this, in COVID-19 patients could be from the virus directly infecting the heart muscle. Initial research suggests that coronavirus attaches to certain receptors in the lungs, and those same receptors are found in heart muscles as well. That's kind of fucking weird, isn't it?
Don't give me that smart alecky shit.
Shut up and listen. In March, doctors from China published 2 studies that gave the first glimpse at how prevalent cardiac problems were among patients with COVID-19. The larger of the 2 studies looked at 416 hospitalized patients. The researchers found 19% showed signs of heart damage, and those who did were significantly more likely to die. 51% of those with heart damage died versus 4.5% who did not have it. But here's the creepy part. Patients who had heart disease before the coronavirus infections were much more likely to show heart damage afterward. But some patients with no previous heart disease also showed signs of cardiac damage. In fact, patients with no pre-existing heart conditions who incurred heart damage during their infection were more likely to die than patients with previous heart disease, but no COVID-19 induced cardiac damage. One thing I got is a strong ticker. I did, you know Sean T? You know Sean T? Exercise gay blacker. You gotta stay focused. You gotta stay within yourself. Fucking guy cracked me up. I was doing his his online things for years. And then I'm watching TV one night. All of a sudden a commercial comes on and he's got a fucking video out. It's him dancing with broads. Like a fucking purple dress shirt unbuttoned down in here. I went, okay, it seals that deal. Guess what? I did the thing. I'm in my house dancing. I had to look up, make sure my neighbors weren't in the fucking... But great workouts, man. Beachbody.com. I'm going to give them a plug. They're not a sponsor, but Tony Horton, I had on my radio show, I interviewed him. You guys, if you're my age, I used to laugh at people who jumped around in their house. I go, oh, what a fucking faggots, go to a gym. And then, but it's killer. Fucking, I have a room in my house. It's about 88 degrees because the sun hits it all day. I go in there, just tying my sneakers to get ready. It's dripping in my eyes. And I jumped around for 55 minutes yesterday. I'm so dehydrated, I'm not going to poop until November. Fucking drank 10 Gatorades. I had a beer. Haven't pissed yet. But I am shredded. You should see the fucking back muscles. I don't feel like doing this today. Anyways. So that's more fucking sobering news. What do we cover today? So some people think it might come back. Doctors are saying, no, you probably get a false test. But they don't know that yet. So it could reactivate, right? And it doesn't just go up to your lungs now. This is a nasty disease. And you motherfuckers that fried the first bat over in Wuhan in your fucking wet stores, your wet markets. It just sounds gross. Does that sound gross? I don't want to buy anything in a wet market. It's fucking gross. No, it's not gross. You try to Cocker Spaniel. It's very good. I'll tell you who's got it bad. Our boy Boris Johnson. You know who he is, right? The Donald Trump lookalike from England. Look at the mop on him. What, did he just pull up on a scooter? That's actually the best picture I've ever seen him. That's as healthy. He's got those dead eyes, though, of a white serial killer. Fucking love this guy, though. He's sort of like, he's England's Trump. Anyways, you guys know he's in intensive care. He was rushed Monday evening, right? And it's getting pretty bad. He asked the foreign secretary to stand in for him. That's kind of creepy, you know? He's probably not the healthiest guy. Anyways, over the course of this afternoon, and this was yesterday, the condition of the prime minister has worsened, and on the advice of his medical team, he's been moved to intensive care unit at the hospital. Johnson was said to be conscious, but was moved to the ICU in case he needed to be placed on a ventilator. That is not good, my friends. Johnson asked Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab to stand in for him while he remains in the ICU. President Trump wished Johnson well and said the U.S. would help the U.K. as needed. I'll send you a hair comb and some gel and mink you. He's been a staunch ally for Trump since Trump took over. This was a precautionary step. The prime minister continues to have persistent symptoms. He had a comfortable night in the hospital and is in good spirits. He continues to lead the government, Rob told reporters from 10 Downing Street in London. Johnson's 55 years old. Jesus Christ, is anybody older than me? Fuck, Raz. Guy's the fucking prime minister of England. He's younger than I am. What the fuck? It goes by so quickly, kids. Oh, my God. Johnson, 55 years old, tested positive for COVID-19, was admitted to the hospital on Sunday. He has been isolating after being diagnosed with the coronavirus 10 days ago. And he's got a pregnant fiance, too. So he felt fine a couple days ago. I'm in good spirits. And then fucking right after that, they're not getting too specific. But there was some headlines in the English papers saying he's fighting for his life. And ICU is critical. So I don't know what, if he was a healthy guy or not. I'm sure not. Eating bangers and mash. Have you ever food in England? Ray, have you ever been to England? Yeah. Oh, you have?
Yeah. Disgusting food.
Yes, for the most part. I'm sure there's some nice pubs where you can have some lamb brains that are delicious.
I did have haggis and whiskey when I was there in Scotland.
Haggis
really
is
good.
What again? What's haggis?
It's like intestines, sheep stomach.
Yeah, haggis. I like to be a cop on TV. My new show, Haggis. Haggis and Bentley. Haggis and Bentley. What the fuck is my problem? Yeah, I went over there. I did the Manchester Comedy Festival years ago, right after 9/11. I got on a fucking plane because I'll go anywhere to do comedy. And Manchester Comedy Festival, and I remember ordering food. Had place delivered to me. I think I ordered like chicken palm. The name of the place was like ISIS's hideout. Oh my God! I'll eat anything, guys. I'll eat SpaghettiOs out of a can. I'm not a fussy eater. It's the first time I didn't finish something. I took 3, but I go, fuck. I mean, I'll eat a dead cat if there's no maggots on it, but this, some Pakistani trying to make chicken palm, chasing a raccoon behind a dumpster with a shotgun. You brought that up nice. I do. Then I ate it. I'm like, oh, God. Here's a guy I like. I like when black dads lay it down. The ones, not the ones that are around and fucking love their kids. What kind of statement was that? Oh, the kind you can make on this fucking show. Raz is like, what the fuck? I'm the best dad there is. This guy, me and Raz had a good laugh at this fucker. Here's a guy that was tired. He's quarantined with his fucking kids. He was sick of yelling at them. Apparently, the guy's better with technology than I am. Watch this. He set up a little soundboard to fucking tell his kids to.
Look at his face.
Hey! Hey!
What's he saying? Raz, you speak black.
What's going on there? What's going on there?
It's got an accent.
There's not chips. Drink water. Drink water.
Drink water.
Did you wash your hands? Snang.
It's like the Uganda president. I'll twist your balls off. I'll twist your balls off. Looks like he's got COVID. He can't even get up to yell at his fucking kid. What was the one I couldn't understand in there?
I think it was a name, probably a daughter name.
Ah.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Here's another one he can add to it.
I did it too quick, but here's a Patreon question.
Oh, all right. Drew.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Speaking of black dads.
Drew W. Temple, Texas. Hey, Nick, what is your favorite Rick Ross song? Oh, that's so fucking easy. Black and White. I'd like to sing it for you, but I can't because it has the N-word in it. Every other word. And it's such a good song. Snoop's my favorite. I'm not a big hip hop guy. I love fucking Snoop because he actually has like this smooth voice and it's kind of funny and shit. He hates Whitey. Let's make no doubt about it. But Rick Ross, if I could be any gangster rap, Rick Ross. About fucking 400 pounds, no shirt on, tattooed, saggy tits, fucking rings, giant cigar, black beard, pirate. But did you make that question up or did somebody else say? Oh, really? Yeah. Black, I'm black, but he's selling wine. 20 grand a night if you can get it right. Sitting in a Benz in a white on white. Ready to go, you ring off the porch. Catch me in the kitchen, kilo. Hey, bring the fork. Trying to run it out, this nigga living so high. Running out of niggas and telling knocking you down. Bang! Your window shattered like it never matter. You're moving weight, your pockets getting fatter. It's politics when it comes to sticks. Ski mask and glove, nigga want a brick. I'm just reciting a great poet. Richard Ross. I call him Dick Ross. Can I sing that? Am I going to get in trouble? I don't know. On TV, I'm not talking about the N-word. It's the lyrics. I'm just saying, is that copyright? And they're going to go, hey, I don't think so. Because nobody could understand me. I sounded like Jimmy Durante while I was singing that. Back to Corona. I also like, you know what? Rich is Gangsta. Rich is Gangsta. That's the other song I like by Rick Ross. Raz, who's your favorite rapper? I mean, you are an African American fellow, and
I had to come back to it. I got like a top three.
Top three? Well, it's not a career decision. Just pick one. Fuck. All right, who's your top three?
I can't think of it right. You got me on the spot.
Oh my God!
I'm sorry. Radio.
Guys, you know what it is? Raz don't even like rap. That's what it is.
Kanye. Kanye's my top.
Kanye. You like Kanye?
I do.
I do too. Terrific young Negro singer. Black people hate him because he liked Trump. Speaking of guys who hate Trump, Scott Stringer, New York official, a top New York City official, Scott Stringer, who recently lost his mother from complications after being infected with the coronavirus on Monday, slammed President Trump's handling of the pandemic. Here he is.
Be some virus, and it is still hard to get around that. But look, in New York City, this is playing out in so many families, and I got to tell you, Donald Trump has blood on his hands, and he has my mom's blood on his hands, and he sent us a hospital that's right here in the Manhattan Harbor, and no one can get on that hospital. This is something that is just outrageous, and so it's very tough to mourn under these circumstances.
For you.
You can act like a man.
You're a wormy cocksucker, you know that?
It's Trump's fault that his mother's dead. You fucking people in New York, politically, you're just fucking insane. Why do you blame your fucking Governor Cuomo? Why are you blaming Trump? Cuomo yesterday actually acknowledged that Trump was getting the job done when it came to New York. He actually said it on the air. Okay? Fucking, they're just political power grabbing to the end. Even when he's politicizing his mother's death. She died because Trump didn't act quick enough. What a fucking jerk off. Ugh. That city needs a nice right-wing Republican fucking governor, mayor. Just try it, as Trump said when he was running. What do you got to lose, New York? Are you happy? Because I fucking, I lived there and I loved it. It really is the fucking greatest city in the world. But, I mean, Jesus Christ. Ugh. He says, and of course, you see Anderson Cooper. Is that his name? I always want to call him Cooper Anderson. He just sits there. He doesn't push back. Well, you should say, do you really think that's fair? He sent that boat with 1,000 beds on it. And that was supposed to be for non-COVID patients because the hospitals, right, needed the beds for the COVIDs. But you know what happened? Because there was nobody on the streets, crime went down. People staying in the house, everything went down. So nobody was getting shot, getting sick, or whatever. And so the beds, they only had like 12 people on the big ship with no non-COVIDs. So they opened it up to COVID patients. Like I said, even Cuomo acknowledged they're doing the right thing at the federal level. Excuse me. Jesus Christ. Stringer told CNN Trump failed to take action quickly and early, and said the president wasted precious time with denials and lies about the crisis while more cases spread and more Americans got sick. He's so full of fucking shit. A week after he heard about it, he stopped all flights from China. By the way, your mom was 86. Not saying, I'm just saying. Stringer announced last Friday his mother, Arlene Stringer Cuevas, died the morning at age 86 due to complications from the virus. She believed in government. That was her first mistake, okay? And she raised us to believe in government. And there you go. And there you have a quintessential New York politician. Government's there to save everybody. Government, government, government. Like Reagan said, government's not the solution. It's the problem. Well, achoo. She taught them to believe in government. See, that's your problem, Mr. Stringer. For this strategy to happen is just so overwhelming, sad for my family. But it's a story, and I know it's playing out across the country. Stringer criticized how the hospital, the Comfort, U.S. Comfort, has been used, whatever, blah, blah, blah. He sent us the hospital right here in Manhattan Harbor. No one can get on that hospital. Not true. Actually, in this article, they actually defend Trump a little bit, for Christ's sake, all the stuff he's done. In addition to dispatching the ship last week, Trump approved Cuomo's request to turn the Javits Center into a coronavirus treatment center. Early in March, the president outlined a federal government's plan to fund a U.S. National Guard unit in the state to help with its response to the pandemic. Like I said, even yesterday, Cuomo acknowledged Trump's been pretty good. So, Mr. Stringer, just a little advice. Don't rely on government like you have been your whole life. You are part of the government. But why are you blaming Trump? Call your governor. Oh, that's right. He's a liberal Democrat just like you, and you guys lockstep. You can't break party. Fucking tiring. I want to thank people who are contributing to this show. As you know, we are now recently gone free Monday through Thursday, which means we rely on contributions from you, which you can make at nickdip.com. We really appreciate it. You guys have been great since all this started. I understand. I don't know what your work situation is too. People are out of work, a lot of people, but do what you can. We're here to entertain you. You need a place to cut loose or watch somebody cut loose. That's what we do here. Go to nickdip.com. I want to thank these contributors from yesterday. Ricky Melton, Ohio. Robert Curley, New York. Michael Knoll, Florida. Zach Vandervoort, Pennsylvania. Chris Brown, Canada. Eugene Montesi, Connecticut. Liam Toole, New York. Herman Wood, California. Mark Pinther, Minnesota. Robert McDonald, Canada. Jeff Carter, Ohio. You can also be a monthly supporter by signing up at patreon.com. And if you do that, you get an extra story every day. You get to ask me a question and you get access to our archives. The new monthly supporters, I want to thank Joe Wooden, Daniel R. Mishral, Mike Fornator, and Mick Largehue, 5'10". Mick Large Huge. I don't know what that means. But thank you guys for again. And if you have if you have a business that hasn't been shuttered yet and you want to be a sponsor on the show, go to Nick DiPaolo, nickdip.com, and we can talk about that too. That would be great. You guys are keeping us on the air. This one cracked me the fuck up. What was it hot in here? This cracked me up. NBC, they're my favorite. NBC's Washington affiliate removed a tweet on Monday that described Virginia Governor Ralph Northam. Remember him? Known for a couple things. One of them was having blackface on in his college yearbook. Remember? Michael Jackson dance contest. And they didn't know if it was him with blackface or him in the Klan outfit, but you remember, right? Anyways, Washington affiliate removed a tweet on Monday that described Governor Northam putting on his own blackface mask.
I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all.
In a striking moment, Governor Ralph Northam put on his own it says blackface mask. He urged every Virginian to do the same, wrote NBC Washington on its official Twitter account. It's not even, first of all, it's green. Okay, so maybe I should give NBC credit. Somebody doesn't like this guy. He got a pass for wearing blackface because he's a fucking Democrat. He also kills 9-month-old babies. Okay, that's why they let him stay. They thought he was a racist, and they said, well, he kills 9-month-old. Oh, well, fuck it. You didn't say that. We'll leave him in office. But obviously, even he would know not to put on a black. The tweet came under some ridicule online, with many saying it recalled Northam's 2019 blackface controversy, which led to calls for his resignation. Hey, where are the white women at? Upon closer examination, the governor's face mask appears to be dark green. Yeah, no shit. Reactions to the since deleted tweets from NBC Washington quickly came pouring in on social media. The station apologized on Twitter, calling the tweet a misjudgment. Yeah, right. Correction, we made a misjudgment in a tweet about Governor Northam's face mask. We sincerely apologize for the error, it reads. I think that's a slander against green people. Fucking. How long we at, Rich? Raz. I just called you Rage. Let's do one more. Man shot 5 people for talking too loud during a coronavirus lockdown, investigators say. A man has been arrested in Russia on suspicion of shooting and killing 5 people after asking them not to be so loud during the country's coronavirus lockdown. Oh my God. The man was arrested over the weekend after having an argument with neighbors while standing on the balcony of his apartment. The alleged incident took place in the village of Yalatma in the Ryazan region of Western Russia. Police officers arrived at the scene promptly. A resident of that building, born in 1988, another guy younger than me, was detained by police. Excuse me. police officers near the building where 5 bodies were found. According to preliminary data, those were 4 men and a woman. Standing on the balcony of his apartment, the man allegedly asked a group of 4 young men and a girl flocking into the house not to be that loud. After a verbal exchange, the man is alleged to have taken his licensed gun and shot at them. All 5 died instantly. What the
Watch
fuck?
out, because I'm...
A spokesman for Kazmanov District told that the man confessed to the incident during his interrogation, saying he acted in self-defense. Yeah, how was that self-defense? You're on a balcony with a rifle. They're unarmed, but it was self-defense. Their words were hurting me. Anyways, Russia has recorded 6,300 coronavirus cases and 47 deaths. You can triple each one of those numbers if you want. I think you'd be safe too. So it's driving people nuts, though. You know, fucking domestic violence is up. At least that's what they're telling you. Child abuse is up. What does that tell you? We gotta get out of the fucking house. You gotta get out. You know what I'm saying? Come on, you get on the dating app, order some hooas. I bet you there's still nothing can take hookers off the street. That is it, folks. It's 112 degrees in here. I don't know, fucking. Gonna have to get the room to 64 before we do the show. Or I have Corona. It's reactivated. That is it, ladies and gentlemen. Again, if you want to contribute to the show financially, go to nickdip.com or sign up at patreon.com. Become a monthly subscriber. Also, if you have a business and you'd like to sponsor this show, we really could use it. We appreciate your support. Cameo.com. If you want me to roast one of your friends, you go to cameo.com, tell me what his name is, a little bit about him or her. I will make a personal video and drop it on my phone to them and torture them. We'll make them laugh. You guys think it? I will say it. You're very welcome. See you back here tomorrow. Stay safe, everybody.
Manager at the mansion about these photos, the photos of the inside of the tunnels being exposed. And he said very matter-of-factly, quote, "That's probably when they built the tunnels in the 70s. So that came from the general manager at the Playboy Mansion. Now, he knows they built tunnels in the 70s. And let's face it, that was the heyday of Hugh Hefner's existence, was the 70s. I mean, he came in the 50s, the magazine caught on in the 60s, and the 70s was like the big heyday. They were on TV with Playboy After Dark. They had the magazine. They had all kinds of publicity, you know, for these parties were annual events, the costume party and all of this stuff. It was a big 70s event, and it was always promoted on television and every other media. So here you can see they're definitely trying to get their disinformation in there and trying to link our dearly beloved president, because apparently there was a photograph of Melania and our dearly beloved president with Hugh Hefner and I guess Holly Madison is her name. In any event, so they're using anything they can to link our dearly beloved to this, which we know he's not linked to it. And it's popping up in a search. The main thrust of all of the articles and videos is the disgusting truth behind Hugh Hefner. Now, if you go to the disgusting truth behind Hugh Hefner,
This young woman really has gathered her facts together. She's got a lot of information and she sources everything. And she talks about it. And, she doesn't, her name's Sienna Hong. And you might look at her and think that she does not have good information, but you would be wrong about that. This is a very good video. And it was from November 15th, 2017. And she really researched and dug up where there were interviews with past people who had been part of the Playboy scene and had come out and accused Hugh Hefner of all kinds of horrible crimes.
A game room, 3 zoos, a pool, a gym, and a wine cellar. It's famous for its lavish parties that he would throw with the bunnies, and a lot of Hollywood's A-listers would come to these parties. Former bunnies actually came out later on to reveal that they felt like these parties were held so that Hugh Hefner could pimp them out to the famous men that were there. Also, this mansion was apparently a setting for a few of Bill Cosby's alleged crimes. 3 of Bill Cosby's accusers said that they were sexually assaulted at the Playboy Mansion, and one of them was only 15 at the time. They even went as far as to say that it was actually Hefner who introduced them to Bill. And one of them actually sued Hefner because on the night that Bill forced himself on her, Hefner apparently insisted that she met Bill, so she believes that Hefner was behind it all. After the allegations, Hefner did publicly say that he had absolutely no idea that this was happening. Holly Madison, who was actually...
So that's just one thing she says. And she goes on, and I highly recommend, if you want to know some of the dirtier details of all of this, to go to her Sienna Hong. That's the name of her channel. But one of the things she brings up is that a lot of these women that were interviewed later on said that Hugh Hefner was into bestiality, which is kind of weird because he's got all these beautiful trannies. And I think a lot of them were these Victoria's Secret type and children. I mean, anything they could blackmail people with. I mean, he's CIA, but that's what he was into. And that he requested all kinds of stuff of that nature. That's all I'm going to say. So this article is from Hype, and it talks about how Beatty and these were all the people that were regular visitors: James Caan, Warren Beatty, Jack Nicholson, and Kirk Douglas. And these are the plans, which you can see here. Those are the plans. There's definitely plans for underground tunnels. I've heard that Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie have a house that has tunnels that go to this place. But I would imagine by now, we're in 2020 now. These people have all the money in the world. You've got the Getty right there. Now that's all got a whole underground system. And you've got this ancient underground system that's already there. And so he's saying, oh, we'll go ahead and assume they're talking about Jack Nicholson, Warren Beatty, Kirk Douglas, and James Caan. No, everybody was out there. So it says here, when the editorial team asked the staff whether they could see the tunnels, one of the mansion staff said, quote, I heard they were closed up sometime in 1989. And the general manager stated that, quote, he couldn't discuss it further, end quote, while other mansion staff said that Mr. Hefner did not wish to comment. So the general manager, I don't know if it's the same one that came out and said that those were the ones that were probably dug in the 70s. If it was, they told him to shut up. If it wasn't, then this general manager said that he, was not allowed to comment on it. Now, this is from Reddit. It says, Q revealed last night that Playboy Hugh Hefner is the White Rabbit. Playboy is a huge CIA honeypot. Hugh Hefner's secret CIA and MK Ultra super assassin handler pass. There is a Wonderland school in the Hefner Aquino CIA lookout. So I didn't know that this had been totally decided, but if that's the case, if Q revealed that Playboy Hugh Hefner is the White Rabbit, maybe the White Rabbits are all the handlers or all the honey pots, all the traps. Who are the White Rabbits? Maybe they're the ones that run all these CIA honey pots. And just like everything that Q posts, there's probably multiple meanings. So there's a lot of comments here and talking about creepy Bill Gates' father with the Rockefellers. And someone does a really good breakdown on Bill Gates. I've been sort of boning up on Bill Gates last night. And if I can remember, I'll go back and look and put it in tomorrow's broadcast, because it was very interesting about Bill Gates and his family and the background on this guy. Is he didn't just come out of nowhere. And look at him. He looks like he looks like he came out from underground. So this is the Vigilant Citizen, and it says new information about dead Playboy Playmate reveal life as beta kitten slave. And it says Paige Young was the November 1968 Playboy Playmate of the month. And after years of being used by powerful Hollywood men, she shot herself in the head. Or did she? She was found dead laying on an American flag next to a pentagram laid out on the ground in a room full of pictures on which were written, Hugh Hefner is the devil. And there she is. The flurry of abuse allegations against Bill Cosby led to a closer look at the long-forgotten story of Paige Young, a Playboy Playmate in 1968. The woman briefly dated Cosby and was passed around by Hugh Hefner and dozens of Hollywood leading men, and that's a quote. A recent article in the Daily Mail describes Paige Young's life in Hollywood and the gruesome details of her suicide. Many details in that article provide clear indications that the Playmate was a beta kitten monarch slave who was handled by the Hollywood elite. And in parentheses, it says, if you've never heard of monarch mind control, read this article first. Like most Playboy models, Paige Young was young and naive when she became the Playmate of the Month in November 1968. She was soon swept up in the disgusting world of the Hollywood elite, where she became a literal sex slave. Ex-model Tamara Green Young, while she was dating, servicing would be more accurate word, Bill Cosby in 1970. I was there seeing my boyfriend, and Paige called me and said Bill was on tour and she was traveling with him. They picked me up at my friend's house, and I remember sitting in the back of a stretched black limo with them both, and Bill wanted to score some drugs. I called around and found a bag of pot someplace on the edge of El Paso. Paige was into her drugs, and Bill wanted to get her some. She was along on the trip like his pet dog. She was a very subdued person, more like moon on the water terms of her personality. They were clearly well acquainted with each other. It didn't seem like a new thing. So she goes on to talk about all this. And down at they talk about, just how she seemed to be under his control. And one can even wonder if she was actually suicided by those who controlled her, as she was increasingly talking about leaving it all. A sign of her programming wearing off. So now moving over to the Gateway Pundit, one of their top stories is that the doctor prescribing hydroxychloroquine says that all of his very, very ill patients with coronavirus became symptom-free within 8 to 12 hours. So that's unbelievable. That's a miracle. So, and it's kind of funny because, funny, odd, prophetic. The first article is praying for an Easter miracle. Remember, miracles do happen. And the next story is doctor prescribing hydroxychloroquine says all of his very, very ill patients with coronavirus became symptom-free within 8 to 12 hours. And it says here a Los Angeles doctor prescribing hydroxychloroquine in conjunction with zinc is seeing 100% success rate with every patient he has treated suffering from the coronavirus. So this is going to drive all of them nuts. Every patient I've prescribed hydroxychloroquine to has been very, very ill. And within 8 to 12 hours, they were basically symptom free. Now, that sounds like a miracle. Said Dr. Anthony Cardillo, the CEO of Mend Urgent Care. So clinically, I am seeing a resolution for people suffering from the coronavirus. And Jory Rand at ABC7 tweets, watch, the president has been repeatedly pushing hydroxychloroquine, a malaria drug, despite the fact it hasn't been clinically tested against to treat COVID-19. But this local doctor says he's prescribed it and it's worked, leaving ill patients symptom-free in 8 to 12 hours. So who's not going to want to know about this? And who's going to want to try to keep the information from the public? Well, I think it's pretty amazing. This guy's probably going to be fired after this. It says President Trump first touted the drug during a daily press conference and was widely mocked and ridiculed by the fraudstream media. Every day we are hearing success stories from doctors and patients who recovered from coronavirus after taking the anti-malaria drugs. However, the media continues to attack the use of hydroxychloroquine. Well, because they don't want a cure. They want to ride this thing out so that they can obscure their arrests and the exposure of all their crimes, because there's not going to be any safe place for them to hide. Karen Whitesett says, thank you, Mr. President. And he says, congratulations, our dearly beloved president. Tweets, our duly elected dearly beloved president that we elected. Congratulations to State Representative Karen Whitesett of Michigan, or Whitesett. So glad you are getting better. And another success story. The Democrat media complex is so evil, they would rather see Americans die from the coronavirus than report on the truth about hydroxychloroquine because they hate President Trump that much. Well, it'll become pretty obvious why they hate him pretty soon. A lot of good comments here, but Marv LS1 says, it really tells you all you need to know about the globalists and the left when good news about a life-saving treatment is considered bad news, because they're such bitter, twisted, low IQ. I'm sorry. The only ones that are unhappy that there's a cure are the ones that are trying to overthrow our government. And Salty One says the leftists are literally killing Americans to maintain their agenda. That is murder. And somebody ought to charge them with murder. Attempted murder. Now, this Phoenix TV is linked to Chinese Communist Party and holds a rotating seat in the White House press room, but pro-Trump network OANN is booted from briefings. Well, I think this is probably part of the show. And I don't think our president does not want OANN in there, One American News Network in there at the press briefings. But I think they're letting this play out so that people can see, and people will start to demand a change. But the president just can't go around making changes, because then they'll just all, start screaming, Nazi dictator Trump. These people make me so sick. I'm so tired of these childish games with these brainwashed, all of them. It says after updating predictions on Sunday, the latest IHME predictions are already 20% over the actual numbers, because they just have got to find a way to make this more than what it is. And the fact that they are doing this, the more that they make it more than what it is, the more ways that the white hats find to use the thing against them. It, after all, is the year of the boomerang. Remember that? And Trump names loyalist Kayleigh McEnany as White House press secretary. Yeah, she's very good. She was at some of the rallies, and she was very good. And it says, Democrat lawmaker who credited Trump for saving her life says she had to beg for hydroxychloroquine after Michigan governor barred the drug. He ought to be charged with any of these people that are barring this drug and speaking out. They're the ones that ought to be charged with attempted murder. And I'm so sorry for this this lady, even though she's a Democrat, she credited the president. She's an honest person. It really does kind of give you hope that there are some Democrats that are not just rotten to the core. American greatness. Trump needs to tell Fauci, the NIH, and the FDA, you're fired. So, this is what we need to do. We need to say, we want you to fire them, because he can't. Nazi dictator Trump is firing everyone, even though Obama did that immediately. He fired everyone immediately. Blozo did. Hey, what's all the buzz, y'all? Y'all's fired. That's what Blozo did. Nobody said a word. But every time he fires someone, they make a big deal out of it. They have a spaz attack. These people make me so sick. I'd like to give them something to have a spaz attack about. Remember when your mom used to say that? I'll give you something to cry about. That's the way I feel towards these people. Oh, great. Huge. COVID tracking website deletes information on hospitalizations, ICU patients after the Gateway Pundit reports numbers far well below the model predictions. So they're going to try to cover it up because they're all hiding the news now. Like the hospitals are in on it, hiding the news with the fake news. So the Gateway Pundit now has to be the news. We have to be the news. And we have to do it, aggressively. Says U.S. sends military ships to Caribbean Sea to disrupt drug cartels and cut off socialist Maduro regime transfers of illegal drugs. I have a feeling this goes deeper than that, than just drugs. But, of course, they can't really advertise what they're doing. But says, according to White House National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien, the military mission is to reduce the entry of illegal drugs into the U.S. and probably a lot of other things. A lot of other things. This is just going down. This is like an epic train wreck right here. They're all backing off of him now because he's just a complete and utter disaster. It says, watch. After one sentence, Biden loses his train of thought, coughs into his hand, and then touches his face during the interview. He's like breaking all the rules. He can't remember them. There's something wrong with it. And at this point, I think it could be anything. I mean, really, they've probably got all kinds of, it could be a lizard, it could be a clone, it could be a lot of things. Whatever it is, it's breaking down. So it says California County closes all golf courses, whether public or private, until June 19th due to coronavirus. Violators face prison and or hefty fines. So this, if you listen to Dave on the X22 report, like I do, Dave has already pointed out, they're doing all this stuff on purpose. And I agree. Just consider that I pretty much agree with 90% of what Dave says. But they're doing this stuff on purpose. The white hats are, they're like, what do you call those guys? They're cowboys. But they're more than that. They're rustlers, I guess is what you call them. They rustle up the cattle. They kind of move the horse around in the way that they want the cattle to go the other way. You know how they do? And they go around and they rustle them into, they're like shepherds, something like that. Anyway, they are pushing these incredibly fascist, probably direct descendants from the actual Nazis of long ago, into doing this kind of stuff to show who the real fascists are. So I think they really want them to do stuff like this because Trump's not doing it. Donald Trump, Nazi Trump isn't doing it, right? They're so quick to call him a Nazi, but he's not the one doing it. California County closes all golf courses, whether public or private, until June 19th due to coronavirus, and violators will face prison and or hefty fines, just like that guy that was out there, surfing or whatever he was doing, swimming by himself, and he got arrested. And meanwhile, people are shopping in stores, and not getting arrested. And they're in there right up next to each other. So it just, California. Expect a lot of this stuff from California, and you'll see which states are owned and operated by the cabal. So breaking, Wisconsin Supreme Court overturns liberal governor's last-minute call to postpone elections. So, that's what we need. We need our rule of law back, because these people have gotten in there like rats and chewed through it and made all these little holes and things. Because that's what they are, that they're about like rats. They don't have any kind of, they're not creative. They're not, they kind of just do like a shark or more like a rat. They just chew and eat and fornicate. People make me so sick. They get in, they chew up our laws, chew little holes through the laws so they can get in and do their dirty deeds. And then when somebody goes, they go before their crooked judges, and then the crooked judge knows the law. They know that the law's already been altered just enough so she can set cabal buddies free. So the Democrat state representative from Michigan says, hydroxychloroquine, President Trump helped save her life after she tested positive for coronavirus. Boom. There you go. Fireworks. President Trump blasts ABC's John Carl. Quote, "You're a third-rate reporter." I was talking to someone Saturday, and I brought up the fact that there is nobody else that could have done this job. There is nobody else that could have stood up to these idiots, these disgusting idiots. They're not just idiots, but they're vile, repulsive, unattractive, disgusting idiots. And single-celled amoebas, that's what I call them. It's even an insult to lizards to call them lizards. And I apologize to lizards everywhere, because these people are really right on down to the single-celled amoeba, and they've got fur growing out of their ears and out of their nose, and they've got like all kinds of lesions and pustules and explosions and eruptions all over their face and their skin. Their teeth are rotting out. Their eyes are turning red, and then one of them's all black. I could go on and on and on forever about these people and how grotesque they are. Who else could have handled this? You're a third-rate reporter. You got that right, Mr. President. And thank you for all you do for us, because we love you. So an Illinois man kills his girlfriend and himself because he suspected that they had coronavirus. Neither of them did. I have a feeling there's more to this story than what they're just putting here or releasing to the public. And the State Department tells the court that it should reject Hillary Clinton's desperate appeal to avoid testimony. Hey, smelly pants, you're not getting out of it this time. You're going to have to show up. So you have to go figure out which one of your demonic personalities you're going to send in to do your testimony for you, you witch. Now, I hope everybody has a great evening. And my dog Truman wants to wish you a happy Tuesday. Tomorrow's Wednesday. And this is Deplorable McAllister signing off.
Department of Education. And in that open letter, she listed 12 things that she wishes the Board of Education would realize about distance learning. And that mom is joining us this morning. Her name is Anne-Marie Woozle, and she's actually written an updated blog as well. First of all, good to see you. Nice to see you. So thank you for being with us.
Of course, thank you for having me.
So Anne-Marie, take me back to that first day when you wrote the blog. What did you want to make sure that the Florida Department of Education understood?
Well, honestly, like we're all in this position and it is a huge adjustment, but some of us are working from home. And I like to think of the example of, think about if everything that's going on and then you have to go to work and then bring your child to work and educate your child while you work. You know, meanwhile, your coworkers might be fired and you have to absorb their job too, and then take on the job of the teacher as a new profession. And it's too much in my opinion.
So you got a lot of response, a lot of feedback. What did you hear the most?
Honestly, a lot of parents that agreed, and I also had some teachers comment, and they said, you know, they really don't feel like right now is the time to be pushing this because everything has changed, the environment has changed, and, you know, forcing our homes to be a classroom is just not something that's feasible for everybody. So.
Anne-Marie, talk to me a little bit, because you and I had a conversation about this over the phone on Friday. There are a lot of kids who are at home right now with maybe a single parent, or maybe that single parent is a working parent and still having to go to work right now. What are your concerns for some of these kids who maybe will be left behind by this?
Well, there's a total inequity because every single environment is going to be different. I think we have like 2.7 million students in the state of Florida. So now you have 2.7 million different classrooms, different environments, multiple children perhaps. What about the dad that has a landscaping business and he's single and he has to maybe bring his kids with him to work and then come home at 3, 4 o'clock, he's exhausted, the kids are exhausted, and now it's time to do 2 or 3 hours of distance learning and learn everything that the teacher would be teaching and try and keep that positive as well, which is, you know, it's a big task.
So you wrote a follow-up blog on Friday, which you've now posted. And if folks want to go read that, they can go to your blog to read it. And it was fascinating because now you're starting to hear from some of these folks who are the decision makers. How did you go about writing that second blog?
Honestly, I just felt like because there was such a big response, I wanted to let everybody else know, like, it's okay that you're feeling this way, because since it resonated with so many parents and even teachers, I'm a huge advocate. I've been an advocate for my child. She has special needs, so I know how to do this, but a lot of people don't. And so I wanted to give them the tools and the contacts and say, hey, if you would like to advocate as well, this is how you can go about doing that. Here's a short little letter. You can link to the open letter, and here's a link to every superintendent in the state of Florida, the governor's email, and the Department of Education commissioner's email, because it's important that they hear from us. I don't think that this is, you know, this has obviously never been done before, and so everybody's kind of winging it, and I don't really think that's how we should do education. We really shouldn't be winging it.
Anne-Marie, we have time for just one real quick thing. I wanted to mention this. You sent me a post from the Clay County School District.
Yes.
Parents not to stress.
Right.
And it was really poignant. Are you hoping that other districts will follow suit?
I hope that they do, because what Clay County said is that, you know, everybody's mental health is really the most important thing. And that's what I tried to convey when I was speaking with the superintendent. I said, listen, everything that people are able to do hinges on their mental health. And we really shouldn't be, you know, forcing our kids to do all of this stuff. And a lot of them are crying, they're in tears. It's not a good experience. And so that's what they're going to remember, you know, years down the road when we had the pandemic and I felt like I was falling apart. You know, that's not the kind of message that I'm going to be wanting to give to my child. And so that's why I'm pushing and saying this is too much, you know, like her mental health and our family and our environment and how we love her is the most important thing right now, and keeping her safe.
Anne-Marie, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us this morning.
Sure. Thank you so much.
On the COVID-19, virus is spreading right now, widespread, and fear and stress is also spreading. But there is a way that you can push through with mental toughness. And joining us live this morning with some tips is mental toughness expert and former Marine Eric Rittmeyer. All right, so let's talk first about how you can explain the facts sort of to yourself and to your family, because it's really important that we are in touch with what's going on inside of our head.
You're absolutely right, Amy. I think what's critically important to point out here is what we're asking people to do. And when we talk about social distancing, what we're really talking about is physical distancing. And we're asking people to basically suppress something that we're evolutionarily hardwired to do, which is connect. And when we tell people we can't touch and feel and spend time with, it can really wreak havoc on our emotions. So we have to look at this trying to preserve our health from the physical point, but we also have to look long-term about emotional health, because this can put people into a downward spiral.
Absolutely. All right. So it's important one that we reach out to people, right, that we are worried that might be alone, maybe don't have somebody checking on them. What types of things should we be asking?
Yeah, so you bring up a good point. So, we have to understand that not everybody entered into this crisis on the same level of mental clarity. So where I am mentally might be different than where you are. Some people might have already been suffering from types of isolation and loneliness. This can really exacerbate that. Other people might have been teetering. They were okay, but this could be what really pushes them over the edge. We have to be hypersensitive to our older people, like our grandparents, who might be suffering from chronic illness. They can't pick up a phone and talk to me because they have hearing issues. And we also have to be very aware of our children. They're going through a scary time right now.
Absolutely. What message do you want to give to parents when they're talking to their kids about what's happening? Is too much information a bad thing?
I would agree with Amy. Yes, I say we have to talk to their level. We're not going to address things with a 5-year-old the same way we're going to address them with a 15-year-old. We have to allow them to ask their questions. We need to answer them, but then stop. Let them follow up with their questions. We don't have to explain quantum physics to them if they don't need to know that.
Eric, how does helping others during a trying time like this make a difference for us mentally?
It's huge. I mean, it's our altruistic duty to look out for our neighbors. And I tell you, the silver lining in all this, Amy, I believe, we're going to come out on the other end of this realizing how important our relationships are. I'm hoping it's going to maybe help out with some of those strained relationships we have, just to get back to the core basics of love our neighbor. Kuna Matata, no worries. Everybody loves each other. Let's just love our neighbor.
Eric, I think for anybody right now who is gainfully employed and healthy, now is really the time to do maybe some of those things that you haven't done in the past, right? To maybe drop by the food bank and drop off a bag of groceries that you have extra at the house. Anything like that can really help you.
You're absolutely right. And again, the key is to go back to our roots, Amy. We're innately hardwired to love each other, to care for each other. This is our factory reset. Your computer locks up, you're not getting emails, all the windows lock up, you replug, you reboot, you start over from scratch. This is our opportunity as a nation to start from scratch, to get back to looking out for each other, to understand we're all a common thread here. We all have the same psychological needs. Let's just care for each other.
Absolutely. Eric, I know you've written a book about this, mental toughness. How can people find it?
Yeah, The Emotional Marine. Thank you. It's on my website, mentaltoughness.speaker.com. It's all about how to be more likable and just how to get people to really care for each other and get back to 101 again.
I love it. Good stuff. Always great to talk to you, Eric. Thanks for coming back to see us.
Likewise, Amy. Good seeing you. Take care.
So earlier we told you about a consumer alert about the growing number of Americans who are out of work or who have had their hours cut back due to the coronavirus pandemic. Americans get coronavirus relief payments from the government, but they won't see that money until at least mid-April. And so that leaves a lot of people wondering how they're going to pay their bills. We do want to now get to somebody who's got some really great tips on how we can budget for the next couple of months. This is certified financial planner Evan Shear. Hey, Evan, good morning. It is good to see you.
Good to see you.
All right. So, Evan, I know so many people are wondering about these government funds and if you've got a small business, PPL, EIDL, so many terms that many of us have never had to deal with before. Can you walk us through some of these things?
Sure. There are actually some fantastic plans that they're putting out there trying to stem the tide right now. The EIDL through the SBA, a lot of acronyms there. The government's giving loans to everybody at a very low interest rate. It's to small businesses. The PPP has really gotten a lot of traction lately. We're recommending it to any small business that thinks they need a bit of a lifeline. What that is they're giving 2.5 times your monthly average payroll in terms of a forgivable loan. So in essence, it's free money. We'll end up paying for it later on in life with higher taxes, more than likely, but it's really helpful right now.
I do want to talk a little about kind of getting rid of maybe some discretionary items that we really don't need for a moment. I think it's probably a good time to do some spring cleaning with this anyway, especially given these times, right? Because one of the things I always hear is cash is king, right? You want to keep a little cash on hand and maybe get rid of some of these items that you don't need. What would some of those items be?
So in the past, we might tell folks Netflix, things like that, but right now we're all streaming, binge watching everything under the sun. So that's probably not one of those items. We're really recommending folks to just use this as an opportunity to create a budget if they haven't already have one, and look for those items that maybe you don't need for the next few months. I hate to say this, but maybe even your gym memberships, if you're not going to be able to use it for the next few months, maybe you can put it on hold, and do some exercising around your house.
Evan, Evan, what about some of the financial fear that a lot of people are feeling right now? And even if they are working, there's that fear that when is this going to end? Am I going to be the next one furloughed? What can I do right now, even if I am working, to try to save money, to try to make sure that I'm not one of those people who, if I find myself unemployed, I only have maybe a month or 2 months of savings?
Yeah, so fortunately, or unfortunately, they did pass the CARE Act. So it is allowing people a little more of a lifeline. If they have retirement assets, you can access those. We're not really recommending that. That's more of a final approach. But you're able to take from your retirement plans without the 10% early withdrawal penalty. And you have up to 3 years to actually put that money back without it actually coming as ordinary income on your tax return.
All right, really good advice. Evan, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you. Have a good Monday.
You too. Thank you.
And as you can see, we are still waiting for our coronavirus task force team to come out here and give us our daily briefing. Until then, I'm going to put us back into that double box. And let's see an interview that happened with KTVU. They're a Fox 2 sister station out in the Bay Area in California. They talked with someone about marriage and family life while in quarantine. I think it's something we could all learn some lessons from.
Marriages and relationships during a pandemic. That is what we are talking about right now with Sharani Pathak, a couples therapist from the South Bay in the Bay Area. Sharani, thanks for joining us right now.
You're welcome. It's my honor to be here and share some really good information with you guys today.
I'm excited to hear it because I'm 13 plus years in, happily married, 2 children, 7 and 9. And look, we've gone through some tests, just myself and my wife over the years, you know, from the beginning to the middle to having children to our first pet. We've been there, but I honestly feel this is the biggest test of our marriage. And I have a feeling that we're not the only ones out there.
You're absolutely right. You are not the only ones out there going through this. And, you know, most of us haven't been through this type of experience at all ever before. You know, we haven't had a global pandemic since 1918 at this level. So most of us that are alive today have no idea how to navigate these times that we are in right now. Sheltering in place, working from home, having your job and your kids and everybody at home 24/7. We don't know how to navigate.
Exactly. Well, I'll talk about family life in a second, but I want to focus on marriage because, look, we're all different, and I understand that some people like to stay home, and that works for them. For my wife and I, on the weekends, we're out of the house. Like, we love going out, taking our children, family experiences. And I feel that's been kind of the hardest part for us is that we're not allowed to do that. So what do we do in the meantime?
Yeah, it's really about finding alternative ways to have time together. Being a news anchor, I imagine that being an extrovert is something that you enjoy. So not being able to go out is really hard. And so it would be, how can we take time to enjoy what we have and enjoy this time together without the distraction of other things, you know, because it's great to be able to go out, and there's lots of distractions when we're out there in the rest of the world. And so when we can bring it down to, okay, can we schedule a date night in? I actually have a colleague who told her kids, we want date night, and so you guys are responsible for the meal tonight. And they set up this whole restaurant experience, and their kids, yours might be a little young, but hey, they just go to Judy and Jay, right? And
at some point, I'm fine. I'm listening to a
to let the kids be in charge.
alleged
so
empire.
And there's still and mommy and daddy are on date night. And
Not Wuhan. What the hell they call it?
You guys do screen time while me and daddy get to snack.
I think that's great. I mean, my children are 7 and 9, so
nice.
I can whip up mac and cheese or a piece of eggs or even a bowl of cereal. But just taking a load off, coming up with a creative idea like that is interesting. Another thing that we've noticed, we just become a little bit more snippy with each other. You know, like for instance, the other night, like I was putting away dishes, and I like to put the cups here in a certain spot, and the plates go in this spot, and then she just kind of jumped at me and go, "Just throw them in there, Mike. Just throw them in. It's not a big deal." I'm like, "Why is it a big deal to you? Why is it a big deal to you?" It's like a little thing turns into a larger thing, and that never really happened before.
Yeah, and the reason that's happening, and that's, again, you're totally normal in that space. We're in this global pandemic, this crisis that we're in, and our bodies, on some level, even if we think we're doing okay, on some level, our bodies are experiencing the trauma and the terror of uncertainty that we're in right now. And then you pair that uncertainty with being at home and not being able to go out, or when you do go out, seeing everybody with masks, or not being allowed to take your reusable bags in anymore, to the grocery store, and just seeing those things are a constant reminder for us that we're in an uncertain time. So our body does this trauma response, and one of the ways trauma shows up is through irritability, through snippiness, through nitpicking and nagging. It's just one of the, it's a fight response, actually. It's a way that we respond to trauma. So you're not alone in that.
Right. You know what? And at the end of the night, because I do tend to get up early because I'm a news anchor in the morning hours mainly. So, my night ends, 9 o'clock at night or so. By then the children are asleep, but by that time, I know we should be spending more time together. My wife and I, we have to take whatever minutes, hours we have to be by ourselves. And I get that, but we do find ourselves, like, she likes to read, I like to just zoom out and not do anything, sit on the couch, maybe watch a show and then go to bed. But do you feel it's important that when you do have those alone times, especially if you do have children, to really take advantage of that? Because I feel like I could force myself to do that more.
Yeah, and actually hearing what you're saying, that desire to just kind of zoom out and zone out and sit in front of the TV for a little while at the end of the night, that also is a normal response, because the body needs to check out sometimes so that we can calm ourselves enough to make it through the next day, or to even make it through the night. And so one suggestion might be, if you can, can your wife read while you're watching TV in the same room, even if it's on different couches? Can you guys share the same space? Because sometimes it's not necessarily about being together like this all the time. It's, can you at least share a space and allow some of that independence while still connecting? And being in a happy, healthy marriage, it sounds like you guys would be able to tolerate that.
Yeah. What do you think? I mean, there's been a debate just among my friends, jokingly but not jokingly, come January 1st of 2021, do you foresee a boost in new babies out there, or do you see more divorces out there?
It's interesting because I've seen that joke around about, we're in 9 months, we're going to have a lot of babies. And I don't know that that's 100% accurate, because again, thinking about trauma